Are you all right, Colonel?
Yeah, I'm fine. Except, it's a terrible day for rain.
What do you mean? It's not raining.
Yes, it is.
Nah, dog, seriously, why was Yoshifumi trying to have us cry in the club during this chapter? And my bad if I look tired. A small mixture of Xenoblade 3 and Monster Hunter Rise have had me up to like 3 a.m. every single night for a while, so yeah, that's the situation I'm stuck in. But chapter 147, amazing stuff, a lot of lore, and I finally put out that long video on all the other chapters that we saw in 2022, so go check that out. Second half will be up sometime during this week before the next chapter's out, but dog, let's get into it. Yeah. Guys, I have Yoshifumi on the phone. He wants you to hear this message real quick.
It don't cost nothing to show the love. Getting money.
Hey, you heard it from him. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you're new here. It's free. We appreciate all the support. First off, Yoshifumi's been on a rampage when it comes to these color pages, as we all know, but dog, this might be just my favorite thing Undead Unluck's ever done. A bunch of bread pandas? I don't even give a dang. Some delectable, amazing treats in the form of the Union, and I loved it. If you notice it, I got pointed out on Reddit, but Shikara is like shoehorned in there, and it's kind of funny because I know Yoshifumi was like, oh sheesh, I forgot to unmove. But no, an amazing illustration. Yoshifumi, as I've said, one of the best colorists out in Shonen Jump, and he just continues to show us with these pages. But aside from the backstory of the silent singer, young Tella, we got a lot of information during this chapter. And I think if Yoshifumi doesn't actually tell us the entire backstory for Under, this is at least enough information now to infer how and why that group began. And I think it's really cool the way he kind of slid it in here. But let's talk about that before we just talk about the events of the chapter. Although we knew they were mercenaries, we didn't know the group they were a part of, but we finally learned. Horizon Balance, this group which lives by a creed which states, "Our bodies differ, but our souls are one. One may die, but their soul will not. The souls that remain take over for the fallen and continue to live on, until the day the world is fair and balanced." And this sort of creed they live by makes a lot of sense considering the individual who captains them. Young Billy the Kid, not unfair yet, but that'll come in a second. It's interesting how as we get introduced to Billy, he's already fighting this fight for world peace. He's trying to ensure that everything within the world stays right, stays fair. Even on this job he's currently on with his group and Tella and everything. They're currently not just trying to fight this mercenary group that's, across from them. They're trying to find this UFO. Another interesting thing kind of slid in here by Yoshifumi, the backstory of the UFO we saw Gina using. An amazing explanation. It's a freaking artifact. Somebody says it's, left by an ancient civilization. However, that's not the truth. They're just trying to, Billy and the group, trying to get their hands on this artifact for whoever hired them, their sponsors or whatever. But they're not going to give them the artifact, Billy says. Billy says something this strong, a technology this advanced, doesn't belong in the hands of the big wigs who are trying to obviously fight some bigger conflict or just be the top dog in the world. Nothing's going to come good from that. Either war's going to come from that, either some sort of economic strife due to the fact that one power is a lot stronger than the other. So Billy is truly doing all he can in order to fight for a fair and honest world. And that's dope because before he gets introduced as a negator into this side of the world, the other side that he's literally knocking at the door of right now, he was just a guy fighting for fairness. So Under, this group which is still at its roots, even though they're the bad guys as we saw last loop, they're fighting for the same thing as us. They're trying to defeat God. And that emblem of Under, a sun, the top half of a sun, the horizon balance, trying to remain balanced on the horizon, one half,
Just take it easy, man.
how else can I explain it, dog? It's gotta be this, an ode to this group, where he started at, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That's so beautiful. It's some berserk level stuff. The Band of the Hawk, I always ride with him. That's kind of what Under is to Billy, I guess. The continuation of this group, the Horizon Balance, and he's always going to hold them on to his heart because as soon as he, had to change his fight from maintaining fairness within the world from a mercenary level, as soon as he became a negator, he started fighting for them at that level, and it's wild. I don't even know if I'm explaining this well, but Nah, y'all feel me. Y'all feel me. And one last theory on Billy that might receive a little more pushback from people is that unbelievable is not an ability at all. I was thinking about it while reading this chapter, and Billy, we thought unbelievable was an ability because he was shooting and ricocheting bullets off of whatever because he's the coldest dude around there. However, I think that is just the case. I don't think Billy had an ability to do that. I think he was just like really talented at shooting guns. Because as we see during this chapter, the young Billy is still blind. However, how is a blind man leading a mercenary troop which is trusted with tasks as large as securing a nuclear weapon comparable technology? You know what I mean? If this dude is a blind soldier, he's gotta have a freaking strap on. We already saw him twirling that magnum in a previous panel. So like, nah, I think that unbelievable was just an unbelievable lie. Nobody could have like guessed that somebody has skills this good, and I think that's just it. He's just the sharpest shooter in the West, and nobody knows how cold he is. He's literally just John Wick. But even with all this interesting, thought-provoking lore, I think the highlight of this chapter was the silencing of Tella, this singer, this amazing individual, and just a beautiful young lad. God dang, like Yoshifumi, you really know how to break a man's heart every goddamn Sunday. Let's talk about it. Tella works as a telecommunications expert or a surveyor for Billy and his mercenary troops. But the more we learn about Tella and his interests, the more his character design, and the more like everything around him and what he is makes sense to us. We learn that he is a very big musician. He loves to sing, and apparently he's got a beautiful voice. One that's good enough to serenade his troops to bed, one that's just, amazing. And he even is always referencing music. Whenever he's talking about the tanks that he hears, a distance away at the beginning of the chapter, he uses a term, leggero, and that means the same exact thing as those light sounds. However, it's referring to it in a musical way. And whenever we take a look at Tella's character design in the previous loop, it makes sense why he has all these audio equipment on him. I know part of it's, just to communicate as we come to sadly learn, but even without that, he's just somebody who loves to hear. He loves to listen to the world. He loves to just use his sonic components. I don't know, dog. But as mentioned, Tella has this beautiful voice that's able to serenade anybody to sleep. So he goes over to the medical tent, trying to help ease the pain of anybody in any way he possibly can. Something which Billy told him, everybody always enjoys this, dog. Just go help out. And he's just talking to them, man. He's a young lad. He's still got a lot of hope in his heart that, we can get out of this conflict with a victory, a flawless victory. But these guys tell him, Tella, it ain't how it works. It's gonna be hard out there, and you gotta have a reality check. And I hate whenever Yoshifumi, God, writes down that reality check right then. Tella leaves the medical tent to tell Billy he'll swap in for the night watch duty. He's gonna help out more and more and more around the camp, and it just, gained me a lot of respect for this young lad, Tella. However, this is where that tragedy struck us. Contrary to what Tella and Billy had coordinated their plan around earlier, the enemies who they were, fighting off against had ammo, and they had thought that these dudes needed to refuel, and multiple tanks just pull up and say, what's good? And you know who was in those multiple tanks? Young Creed, Undi Crease. I hate this dude. However, my homie Brady, shut up the goat. Brady had mentioned that Yoshifumi just loves Street Fighter way too much. This dude gotta be a Guile reference, but I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. We gotta talk about Tella. As Tella sleeps, he unexpectedly hears the enemies approaching. 5 fully loaded tanks headed straight for their medical camp. And as he hops on the radio ready to scream for his troops to save themselves, until self-targeting compulsory activation type. Any and all means of communication that utilize his own body are negated. And as he tries to signal for help and scream into the radio and run for them to get out, Captain Creed says ready to fire, and their entire medical camp is blown to smithereens. Dog, this one, it was real? I mean, they're at war, and that's why I felt Creed right after this. Like, I hate this whole little reality check that Yoshifumi hits us with. Creed comes in with the dog mentality. Creed comes in and he's like, good shit, y'all. We got the job done, but he tells them, no hope for them. That's good it was a medical tent. It's easier to fight people who are mad, dog. You gotta be a demon when you're at war, and I kind of understanding the ideology, especially if these are the 3 founders of Under, presumably. I mean, we've seen that already. Presumably, if these are the 3 founders of Under, it makes sense how they turned down this very dark road in order to try to kind of reach the goals that they were trying to attain. But Tella, I felt so bad. This was crazy to see, like, the people you love, the people you work with, the people who you like live and have died with, and yada yada, you know what I mean? Just get destroyed, all because of you not doing your job. Like, that's crazy. And he was obviously somebody within the camp who did his job very well, but it all got taken away like this by Gummy. Screw that. However, Creed on the telecommunications with his squad hears something. He says, wait, their camp is unscathed and we can't get inside? And you know who had pulled up? The Union. Gina, unchanged, protected everybody. Fuko is there. Void is there. He's armored up a little bit now too. You see, Nico had helped him out some, and we're getting ready. I'm excited to see what happens next, but here's the interesting thing. I think Creed will still get undecreased for whatever reason, but will Billy get unfair? I'm not sure. I think maybe he gets unfair because his best friend gets an ability. I don't really know. We don't really know. I'm excited to see what happens next though. Undead Unluck. Yoshifumi hasn't missed in a long time, and like somebody said on that last video, that same comment, I haven't edited in a minute, so let me get back to that. Hasta luego.